Welcome to the OK, Let's Learn podcast. This is two podcasts in one. One where we go through books and great stories, and one where we dive into tons of different topics and people. My name is Kevin O'Keefe. So today, let's dive into our OK Book Club with Book 6, Episode 1 of the book Because of the Rabbit by Cynthia Lord. And yes, you can probably guess right away what this book is going to be about. Those of you that have read Because of Winn-Dixie or Because of Mr. Terrupt, and I'm sure there's other books out there that begin with the first four words of because of the, right? But nevertheless, this is a book I'm reading out loud to my class. It was referred to me by our school librarian. And you know what? I will tell you this. If a book is well received, if the author is well received and famous and clearly has had other books that have really done well in terms of critical acclaim and popularity with kids, I don't want to read too much about the inside book cover, the back of the book, about what the book is about. Only because, again, this is different for everyone, but let's leave a little mystery. Let's go on this journey together, and that's the purpose of this podcast. I am just reading, ultimately, this book with you. So, number one, stop here. And before you listen to the podcast, you want to read. We don't have chapter numbers here in this book, so I'll just refer it to page 1 through 32, the beginning of the book. This book, if you're looking to get a new book and read with us, this book is 181 pages. It says on the back that it's reading level for grade 4, and it appeals to 4th to 6th graders. Hey, I'm reading this to my second graders. It looks to be a great story, and I'm hopeful. But as you'll see as we go along here, in the beginning, I'm not too happy. I'm not too happy with the beginning. So, this is all commentary. It's not verbatim what happens in the book, although I will give you a brief summary so that you can follow along if you're reading with your children, or even if you want to just follow along in the book. The author, Cynthia Lord, her first book was Rules. The book was a Newbery Honor Award winner. Basically, that means it came into second or third or fourth place. If it's a silver medal, each year the Newbery Award winners, it's almost like the Academy Awards for books, for children's books, novels. You also have the Caldecott Medal winner for picture books. But ultimately, the honor award goes every year, like I said, to the runner-up for the best book of the year. So just that alone means it's a great book. It was written, the book, her original book, Rules, it was her first book. It was written in 2006, and the award was given out in 2007. And this particular book, Because of the Rabbit, was written and issued in 2019. So let's get into the book. I'm going to actually just tell you the first sentence. It's always interesting to me, the first paragraph, first sentence. Are you going to grab me right away? A rabbit? I heard Dad say into the phone. Is he hurt? Right? So just like Charlotte's Web, where's Papa going with that axe? And again, I like this, right? First sentence. But I have to admit, I'm not happy with the beginning. And this could be a theme throughout this first episode. I'm going to push through and I'm going to read this whole book, and I hope it gets better. But I'm not happy with the first number of pages. Ultimately, we've got a story here about M, who is Emma, and her younger brother, who is Owen, and her father, who is a game warden. A game warden is basically like a police of nature out there that helps with maintaining order and laws as it relates to hunting and fishing, and basically just protects the environment. So he gets a call saying that there's a rabbit out on this fence that is hurt, that's stuck, and he has to go out. And of course, the daughter M wants to go with him, and she does. And we're also introduced in this first chapter to the grandparents. And I will tell you this, there's just, instead of getting right into the action, which I really want, and I'm going to pause here again for a second. Those of you that have listened to these episodes with previous books, I firmly believe, and I think most people would agree with me, that the best books are a combination of action, adventure, mystery, realistic fiction, and, just throw in great writing. When it's too much of one or the other, it doesn't work, at least for me. And what's happening here in the beginning is it's just blah, blah, blah. Like I said, we are introduced to the grandparents. And the grandparents, they're French. We find out that we are living here up in Maine, and the grandparents are from Canada, so they're French. You got Mémère and Pépère. Interesting. I guess this is, those of you that are out there that are French, is this just common for grandma and grandpa? I'm coming to find out it is. But ultimately, what is set up, which is good because, like in The Lost Library, I was totally confused with the previous book in our book club series. We do have an understanding of where we're going with this story. So we got this rabbit that's stuck. Emma's going to go out with her father. And we learn that Emma is just going through a lot of stress right now because here she is going to school for the first time at, looks like 5th grade, if my memory is correct here. But that's because she has been homeschooled her whole life. So you talk about, again, a great narrative in terms of being able to survive a real school, real kids, just going through this time period, which is tough enough to be in 5th grade. But here we are as she reflects back on her grandparents when they would go to visit them. And immediately, M tells us about all these characters that Pépère, remember, Pépère is the grandpa. He would tell the stories of these animals, and every single rabbit was called Monsieur Lapin. So I will say right up front that I don't like this when I have to constantly go back and refer to what all these different names are, because he has different names for all these different animals. And as the author goes forward, like I'm supposed to remember who all these animals' names are. And that's, frankly, again, maybe it's because my memory is not that great, but in fantasy, you come up with all these crazy names for characters. And again, that's just not in my wheelhouse. Other people may like it, but listen to the names that apparently we're going to constantly go back to. Monsieur Castor, the beaver. Madame Tortue, the turtle. Monsieur Renard, the fox. Monsieur Corbeau, the crow. Madame Sitel, the nuthatch? The nuthatch. Okay, I don't even know what that is. And Monsieur Ibu, the owl. So a nuthatch is actually a songbird. And what we also get introduced to in the first couple chapters is this language that Em and her younger brother Owen have with each other. Owen leaned toward me at one point on page 2, and he says, "So who's ahead, excited or scared?" Like, again, young kids would have this idea of metaphors as if, they're real people. Excited is a real person, and it's taking over Emma. Or obviously in the case of scared, it's a real person. I get this, that maybe you could have that, but it just seems to be over the top and not something that kids would grasp onto. But it's a literary device, and I'm fine with it. And what we also learn is Monsieur Lapin is the favorite of Emma, that her grandfather relates to her. And immediately I had connections to Beatrix Potter and Peter Rabbit, always in trouble. Well, apparently this is the case as well with Monsieur Lapin. It's fun, it's interesting, and I go back to my son, who his bedroom when he was born had the theme of Beatrix Potter. And it's funny because we didn't know our son was going to be our son until he was born. We actually thought he was going to be a girl. That's what we were told, but surprise, surprise. So it was a nice neutral way that his bedroom was decorated with Beatrix Potter ads with the sisters Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail. As we go forward and Emma kind of shares who she is, I love this little best friends checklist on page 14. And it is heartwarming. Likes me best. Who are Emma's best friends? Who would be their best friends as she goes into middle school and her new school? Likes me best, likes the things I like, shares secret jokes, is always on my side, lets me be me, and forgives me when I'm sorry. Universal truths for what good friends and who good friends are. But again, here is my commentary. We take too long getting to the rabbit, rescuing the rabbit, and yes, they do finally rescue the rabbit. He's fine. And of course, just like Charlotte's Web, the main character here, Emma, convinces her father to keep the rabbits and not just let the rabbit go. So they bring the rabbit home. And then we're just going on and on about the rabbit and how we feel about it having it home and the rabbit being acclimated to the home. And I'm just thinking with my class, when are we going to get to getting to school? It's almost like the rabbit and the whole story of the rabbit in the beginning. We almost forget that, oh yeah, her next day is her first day of school. So apparently she ends up staying late to, the rabbit's got some issues and problems. But ultimately, I've said to my students, I really feel like if this doesn't get better soon, I'm going to feel like I'm going to ditch it. But I'm going to push through. Whether or not I continue reading it to the class will be another question, but I will certainly read through it and give you my commentary here. I think ultimately, and this is the downside of some realistic fiction stories where you don't necessarily have a mystery or something that you don't know what's going forward. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully this could make the book a lot better, but I'll tell you right now, obviously with the title being what it is, like I referenced before, she's going to a new school. Things are not going to go well, but ultimately the rabbits will make her feel better and will allow her to get through this tough time of a new school, new friends, etc., etc. And yes, this is what pets do. If you're lucky enough to have a pet, they make you feel good. It's unconditional love. So this is what the whole story is going to be. If it's well written, that it tugs at my heartstrings, I'll have a wonderful feeling about this book, just like because of Winn-Dixie and just like because of Mr. Trupp. Both books that I've read and I will have future episodes on. I encourage you to also read those books. But here we are on our journey. Stay with us, friends, and there's really not too much I need to say. If you have comments, questions, any commentary, anything I missed in the beginning of this book that you would like to relay, reach out to me at kevmok21@gmail.com. And like I said, I will, in terms of if you'd like to read the book along with us, I will say, generally speaking, every 40 pages or so, 30 pages or so, we will have a new episode. So until next time, friends, thanks for staying with us on this journey of our 6th book in the OK Book Club, Because of the Rabbit. Have fun. And keep learning.